All right, I want you to turn in your Bibles or your app, whatever you have, to the Gospel of John, John 21. Let me set the setting. There you go. How's that? Let me give you the context. It's after the resurrection. Jesus has appeared to the guys twice. That's it. He did tell them to go on ahead to Galilee, and I'll meet you there. That's the only instructions that we know that they had. All right? So they're there now on a beach doing what fishermen do. They're fishing. There's 7 of them. You remember at this point, Judas has already hanged himself. So they don't have 12, they have 11, and there's 4 of them missing. Where they are, we're not told. We are told in John 21 that verse 2, Simon was there, Thomas was there, Nathanael was there, James and John were there, the sons of Zebedee, and 2 other disciples who are not mentioned are there. And Peter says, I'm going to go fish. I'm going to go fish. And so he gets in the boat. They all said, well, we'll go with you because misery loves company. And they went out and they got into the boat and they caught nothing all night. Okay? I left it right here. So they're out fishing, and I'm just trying to follow along in the text as I'm reading this thing, going, oh, what's going on? What's going through their minds? There's an outline there. I'm not really going to follow it because the thoughts just were flowing after I submitted the outline. But I do want you to understand, let's see here, we'll make this work. I think when life beats us up, and we do feel drained, Jesus is the one who says, come eat breakfast. It's going to sound kind of goofy. But I think the more I was in this passage for the week, it was like I'm asking questions. You know, do you ever ask yourself questions? Like, where's the beef? I mean, there's some really significant questions in life, isn't there? Like, oh man, what were some of the fine questions that I thought of here? There's where's the beef? There's, oh, forgive me, I've got it right here somewhere. Because where are my questions? I mean, that's one of the ones I was asking myself. Who let the dogs out? Does anybody really know how to get to Sesame Street? If the number 2 pencil is most popular, why is it still number 2? Why do you press harder on remote controls when the battery's going dead? Dumb questions. But in this text, there were 3 questions that I want us to think about as we think about where we are as a church and going to the next year. First thing I asked myself was, why was Jesus on the beach? So they went out and they got in the boat, they caught nothing all night. Early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore. The disciples didn't realize it was Jesus. And he called out to them. He said, friends, have you got any fish? And they said, no. He said, well, throw your net on the right side of the boat, and you'll find some. And they did this, and they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. Then the disciple whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it's the Lord. And as soon as Simon Peter heard him say that, it is the Lord, he got his outer garment, he hopped in the water, he started swimming. The other disciples followed in the boat. They were towing the net of fish, for they were not far from land. Maybe, what's it say there, 100 yards? Why was Jesus on the beach? They'd quit. Or they'd gone on ahead, but they're definitely discouraged. And they're going back to fishing, because that's what you do when you get discouraged. You go back to what you know. It's easy to quit when you get discouraged. It's easy to quit in a church when a church gets discouraged. It's easy to pack it in and just say, well, we tried. I think there's some of that going on with the disciples. I think that's why there's only 7 and not 11. I think there are 4 other guys that said, you know what, we've done this for 2.5, 3 years. Judas killed himself. We don't really know what the plan is. And so they're going to go back doing what they're comfortable doing, which is fishing. And I don't fault him for that, and I don't think Jesus faults him for that. My question to you that I really would ask you to ask yourself is, why was Jesus on the beach? Because he didn't have to be there. And I'm going to suggest to you that he saw them fishing because he wanted them. And while they may have given up, Jesus hadn't given up. And I think that's one of the things I want you to think about. As you look back this week on being thankful, and it can be easy to maybe quit, maybe say, it's maybe been a hard year. Why? Because I might suggest to you that Jesus is still on the beach looking for you. He's still there for you. He's not giving up on you, even if you might give up on him. None of that is in the Greek. What I just offered you was me asking myself of the text, why did Jesus go to the beach looking for these guys? And I think it's because he cared and wasn't done yet. And you're going to hear some stuff of the church. And every time I think, maybe we should close the doors, we hear another story about how God's not done yet. And I just want to remind you that for yourself and for us as a church. God's not done yet. So they're there, they're fishing. This had to, just put yourself in their spot. You've fished all night. You're tired. You are legitimately tired. And some dude from the beach yells, "Hey, did you try the other side?" What's your first thought? No, golly gee, wish we'd have thought of that. Man, that one escaped us. We've been out here 7 hours. I guess, we maybe should have. I think there comes times in life when you get frustrated by the circumstances of life. I know I do. And one of the things that you might think about is when those times of frustration come, is God doing something there? Because he wants to show himself mighty on the other side. Hey, throw your nets on the other side. Oh, wow. Sure. Some dude from the beach telling us where to throw our nets. But you know what? They do. And it says here there's so great a fish, they're unable to haul them in because it was so many of them. I think there's still a catch out there. Told our board last week when I looked at the stage last Sunday, if you were here, everybody up here was 30-something. Everybody leading us in worship last week was 30-something. That is the church, friends. Us old people need to understand that we need to clear the way and make possible this group and their families coming. There's a catch out there. There are still people out there that Christ wants to reach. And he's still asking us, hey, will you throw your net on the other side, or you just want to pack it in and come on into shore because you tried? You tried your best. You worked all night. You're tired. Yeah, I get it. Just pack it in and come on in. You're done. Those are choices that you face. You will face them. I face them. And I think Jesus is still there saying, hey, let's go on the other side. There's some fish out there on the other side. Okay, so now look what happens next. Peter comes, and it says here, when verse 9, they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals there with the fish on it and some bread. And Jesus said, bring some of the fish you've just caught. Okay? So second question I asked myself was this: why was Jesus making them breakfast? I mean, think about it. Seriously. Why was the Son of God serving? Because it's the least popular thing to do. You don't like it. Just be honest and admit it. You'll do your heart good. Just say, I really don't want to come early to serve food for people. I don't want to set up tables. I don't want to take down tables. I don't want to do VBS. I don't want to set up for this. I don't want to do that. I was at a fundraiser last night for Sacred Heart Church in Florissant for their youth. It was like a trivia night for their youth sports program. The gym was packed. They probably brought in $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 last night on this trivia night for the youth sports program at Sacred Heart. And all I could think about was the number of people that worked to get that place ready for people like me to come drop $20. Tables set up, table runners, people organized the trivia night. I mean, there was a lot of work that goes into that. Those of you who put on trivia night know that. And I would say this to you. Church is a lot of work. I've had people have sat and said, man, do you know how many people it takes to make a service? Like we should, how do we make less people able to work? And I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you make it less? Because you people are gifted. God has given you abilities. And it takes all of us. Why was Jesus making them breakfast? You know why? Someone give me the reason. Come on. Why do you do breakfast?
They were hungry.
They were hungry.
And they cared.
This is not, what? And he cared. Yeah. See? You got reading comprehension. They were hungry. Did we need to do breakfast today? We don't need to. Why don't we just do church on Sundays, have something nice for the kids, call it a day? That's our church. That'd be easier. A whole lot easier. Have the praise team come in, and they just come in 30 minutes before, and they're going to do the best they can. Their heart's in the right spot. They don't need to come in earlier and practice, right? Just let their hearts be good, right? Why put in the work? Because people are hungry. I want to remind you of that. There are needs out there that we can meet. I don't care your politics. I really don't. But there are people that the SNAP benefits affected real people. And I don't subscribe to the notion that everybody is 29 playing video games in their basement like some would have us believe. There are real families that have been affected by what's happening out there. And of all places, the church should care. Those cans back there are going to go to real people. The gifts on the board are going to a real family. But it takes work. Why do we do it? Because if anything, Jesus said, they will know you're my disciples because you got the Gospel of John memorized. Jesus said, they'll know you're my follower because you've got Calvin's Institute memorized word for word. You know what? You're a real follower of Jesus because you know the Greek. You know what? You're a real devout follower of Jesus because you got all of the Old Testament memorized. What am I missing here, friends? I'm sorry for dumbing it down, but I think Christ did it first when he said, they'll know you're my disciples when you love and you care for people. That's what he said. If you don't care for people, oh man, I don't know. Was it Paul who said, oh, you can be like the best praise team going. But if you don't have love, what are you? Just a loud cymbal. You can give your body to be burned at the stake. But if you don't have love, bad sacrifice. As we move into the next year, may you and I be known for our compassion as a church, that we cared for people. So towards that end, I've got 5 pies that I picked up with 5 tubs of whipped cream. I'm looking for 10 angels who will deliver those to 5 different people sometime between this afternoon and tomorrow. And for no other reason than to simply say, you know what? The church remembers you and just here, have some pie. Because I've been eating a pie for 3 days. I like pie with whipped cream. If you don't like pie and whipped cream and you think it's of the devil and it just puts on pounds, don't volunteer to be an angel. But if you would like to just drop a pie off to maybe some people that don't get out much and say, you know what, just wanted you to know that the church remembered you, Jesus loves you. I want to talk to you. Because that's what this is. Jesus fed them breakfast because they were hungry, because he cares about what's going on. And I hope that we still will be a church that cares about what's going on. And then, why did he ask them to bring their fish? He's already got the fire going with fish and bread. Do you think he didn't plan enough? Seriously, I was thinking about that. So he only had 6 fish, but he knew they were going to bring some. So he's like, that's all right, I'll supplement with those guys. You think the Son of God actually didn't think ahead to have enough food there? Why did he say, hey, bring some of your fish here? Because I think he invites you and I to work alongside him. Why did he say to Peter, hey, Peter, here's the deal, man. You've been a fisherman, but I want you to feed my lambs. I want you to take care of my sheep. I want you to feed my sheep. Why did he ask Peter to think about doing something different than what he's always known, become a shepherd? Because he wants people taken care of. He wants his flock taken care of. He wants his people feeling loved. So you're going to hear plans. You're going to hopefully hear some things that the church, the leaders, the ministry areas are thinking about what they want to do next year. And you're going to be asked to help make it happen. You're going to be asked to help fund it. I'm going to be asked that. Why should you think about it? Why doesn't God just bring a Brinks truck? I really wish he would. I really wish tomorrow a Brinks truck would back up with 2 bags, just accidentally drop them off, and the church is covered for the next year. That would be so cool, and we would all say, thank you, Jesus. And there'd be no more standing up here on Sunday and saying, hey, would you give? Hey, would you help? Hey, would you take that half sheet and think about that your gift actually of $400 a month would cover the children's ministry for a whole year? If you faithfully gave $400 every month, you'd be the person that funds the children's ministry. You would do that. Whatever the other things are there. You think it doesn't matter. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you a story, Evie Gammons, who gave $5. Right? Now, I need to finish the story because there's another part of the story. So you tried to talk her out of it. Just be honest. You did. You said you did. Right? Okay. And then, but she's out $5. Right? What did you do in response to that? You started giving her allowance. Did you make up the $5? I thought you said to me, but you started giving her allowance. And so she's giving out of her allowance. She's since given again. To my knowledge, this little girl has given $8. Think about that just for a second. Where is she getting the $8? Ask yourself the deep questions. Where is this little girl getting $8? From her father. You wonder where your funds are coming from. You think it's from your employer. You honestly do. Most of you do. That's why you're worried about if you lose your job. Where did the fish come from? Didn't they work hard to get the fish? Didn't they haul the fish in? Where did the fish come from? Oh, I don't know. Jesus said, cast your net on the other side. Oh, yeah. Maybe Jesus provided the fish. What's the source of your income? I'm flat out challenging you. One of the things you're going to hear is that we're going to propose that I take a 10% pay cut this coming year. I'm going to announce it right now. This was Mike and Patty coming to the board saying, let's do this. Now you need to know the why. Because we want this place to thrive. And we're not meeting budget. And if I honestly believe what I just said to you, that God is the source of my income, then I shouldn't be afraid of how he's going to make it up. But it's easy to spout the words, and really the heart, you miss it. Because it's seen in your actions. It's not seen in your words. It's seen in your actions. Are you willing to be generous with what God's given you? Hey, bring your fish. Like Jesus needed them. He doesn't need them. He wants you and I to participate in what he's doing. So what's he doing? What's he doing? Just 2. And I'm not reading names. But you need to know that these have come to me in the last 40 days. Just over the last month. okay? Someone wrote me and said, I wanted to send you a quick note of thanks. We've been a part of Stonebridge for 9 years. We started coming, and I don't want to give the family away, but we started coming when our son was 6 months old. At that time, we'd been looking for a church that was small enough we could get to know everyone, as well as one that had a good youth program. Since we've been coming here, my 2 youngest children have made the decision to follow Christ, and I've also rededicated my life to following him. I appreciate the opportunities within the church that allow us to volunteer with the outreaches to help our community, such as the canned food, lasagna love, and adopt a family at Christmas. I also want to let you know how thankful we are for your sermons each week, that you make God's word clear. I pray that others hear God talking to them through your sermons like we do. Have a wonderful weekend. It's a family that you and I, because we give and this church exists, have been touched. 9 years. Here's a family that's only been coming here months. Pastor Mike, just want you to know that we are beyond grateful that we discovered Stonebridge. I don't want to give them away either, but they were introduced and started coming because of VBS. Their child loved the 2 years in a row that they were here for VBS, and the last day of VBS is when I discovered that they had lost their job. They wanted to attend church that Sunday to sing their songs, and I knew we needed to go. It was God's divine intervention. We were there that day. Your sermon touched me in a way that I can't even explain. It's as though it was directed at me, giving me much needed comfort and hope with God on my side. We both really appreciate coming to the church, hearing you preach. We honestly look forward to Sunday, which is a refreshing change. Our kids enjoy the Sunday school class, which is amazing bonus. The church community has been so welcoming to us from the very start. Please keep doing what you're doing. The only way that happens, friends, is we do it together. Church isn't about Mike, it's about us. You do what God's given you to do. If you want to shrink back, 4 guys didn't go fishing that day. 4 guys didn't see what Jesus did on the beach. They weren't there. They missed it. They heard about it. They didn't see it. Stories you're about to hear, and vision, ideas, are from people that believe that God still is not done here and wants to do some things. I hope that you believe that too. I hope that you will hear something of what God is doing and want to be a part of that. But I know people like you know people. And that's why it's always a challenge. How do I know that Peter believed? Why should you believe what I just said to you? How do I know Peter believed it? Anybody know their history? What happened to Peter? What? Yeah, crucified upside down. Mid-60s, Rome. Some 30 years after this incident on the beach. Well, what's the big deal? You want to know what the big deal is? Picture with me that Jeffrey Epstein calls you into his cell. And it's 2 weeks before he takes his life. He's still a wealthy dude that's looking to get off. Probably not going to do much time. He's got a wealthy estate. And he says to you, hey, I'm wondering if you'll care for my estate. Would you mind looking after my stuff? I'm going to be locked up for a little bit, busy. And then you find out he takes his life. And now we sit here today and no one wants to admit they're a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Think about that. He had all kinds of friends at one point. Today he's got no one that owns him. Why is that? What's that got to do with Jesus and Peter? When Jesus was crucified, he was Jeffrey Epstein. He was naked on a cross. He was a criminal. He was condemned to die. No one wanted to be by his side. Remember, all the disciples fled. Only his mother and I think John were at the cross. Everybody else left. 30 years later, Peter's in a position to know whether it was a hoax or not. Peter's in the position to know whether the whole resurrection was a joke. He was crucified upside down because he had seen the risen Christ. He knew Jesus was alive. He didn't have to go through with it. He saw Jesus on the beach feeding breakfast. It changed his life. Friends, join me in seeing lives change. I want to turn the floor over to Ian.